Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Menachem Creditor and I serve as the Scholar in Residence at UJ Federation of New York. It is an honor to come to you each weekday morning at 9 o'clock, sharing a little bit of Torah, a little bit of hope, a little bit of song, and a sense of being connected with each other. So good morning everyone. I'm just going to cue up my other device so that I can see that you're here and that I don't need to be hearing myself. One of me is enough. Good morning, everyone. Susan, Adrian, it's good to see you. Oh, wow. Now we can do this. Now we're here. So let's start with a deep breath. It's that kind of day. Just breathe, and then we'll bless. Hi, cousin. All right, everybody, let's do a little learning, start our day right. So there is this really interesting part of the Torah in this week's portion. This is Parshat Beha'alotecha in the beginning of the book of Numbers, and it's a very predictable thing in human dynamics to wish to be in the middle of things, to wish to be in the center. One of the most wonderful questions I was ever asked as part of an interview process many years ago was, when do you need to stand in the spotlight and when do you not? And it caused a kind of inner reflection, especially for someone who sometimes stands in public. When do you need to be in the middle? When do you not? This platform is a strange one because ultimately, if there's only one camera on one face, it puts one of us in the middle. And though for me, you are the center of this experience, trust me, you really are. The whole question of when the spotlight shines on one of us is a big one. One of the parts of Zoom technology, if you handle the back end, the backstage basically, is you spotlight certain speakers when you want them to be more prominent. So the question that the Parsha will have us ask is there anything strange about wishing that you were in the middle sometimes? That you would be spotlighted, that your story, your condition would be highlighted? In chapter 12, Parshat Perek Yud Bet of this week's Torah portion is a dynamic that on the textual level is actually very confusing. It's for another time, but it's not clear every part of chapter 12 of Numbers what's going on. But the general story that I want to share, one of the threads from within that chapter, is that Aaron and Miriam gang up on Moshe. Remember, they're three siblings, and none of them are slouchers. Moses is Moses. Aaron is the high priest. Miriam is a prophet, a musician, clearly a rabble-rouser and a dancer and an organizer. Moses is the lawbringer. He's human and not quite. And Aaron stands in the breach sometimes more effectively, sometimes less, but is called to be the most intimate servant of God. So just think about what that means. Miriam and Aaron gang up on Moshe, and they say, what's so special about him anyway? that God would single him out. Now, what happens in the story is very interesting. Moshe, their brother, hears what they're saying and throws himself on his face, and we don't quite know why. The text does say that he's the most humble person ever. But it is funny to realize that according to most understandings, Moshe either wrote or transcribed the Torah. So there is Moshe writing that he is the most humble of all people. So we get to laugh a little bit within the Torah, wonder what's actually happening. But the basic story is that Miriam and Aaron say, "What's so special about you?" Moshe throws himself on his face, and then God says, "Actually, I picked him. He's got a job to do. So you're special too, but he's Moshe." And there's an interesting interpretation of this that you can find in the Talmud and in the commentaries on the Talmud. The Talmud says that what made Moshe special, why was he picked for his specific job, is that he saw through what is called an aspaklaria nehira, a clear lens. And all other prophets, in the Torah it says, all other prophets God speaks to in dreams. And in the Talmud, the way they say that is that the other prophets saw God through a muddy lens, through an aspaklaria she'eina nehira. And it's so incredible to hear that Moshe's job was appointed by God because Moshe had the ability not to see everything clearly, but to see what he needed to do clearly. And the commentary says he even had the ability to see God clearly. But in Jewish tradition, we never leave it with one text and one commentary. So the commentary on the commentary says, well, if he saw clearly, what did he see? What a fascinating question to ask, because ultimately, if we are saying that he saw God and saw God clearly, what did he see? So the commentary recorded by Rashi says, Moshe saw clearly, which means that when he looked at God, he didn't see anything. Just let that in for a second. What made Moshe special was that his clarity showed him when there wasn't something there. God isn't a thing. And that doesn't make Moshe the only way of seeing clearly. It means that Moshe is a model in the Torah and through the generations of interpretation of seeing clearly and not saying, this is the thing I see, which means God isn't a thing. I can't locate God in one thing. The power of this is incredible to think about. Moshe saw clearly and didn't point to a thing and call it God. That doesn't make him better than Aaron and Miriam. It means he was good at his job. Miriam and Aaron say, well, aren't we special too? And the answer is, well, of course you are. Who isn't? But Moshe's special role in this moment is really important to point out, as is the natural tendency to wish that we could each be in the center of the conversation. So what I'd like to reflect on today and ask you to do too is, what's the bigger picture in which you play a central role? And do you always play that central role? This is a strange moment for us to think about who's in the middle when we are each in our own circle. We are each the center of our universe. If you're home with someone, you're not really the center of your own universe every second. But the power of wondering when we play a pivotal role is a very, very big question. We don't always. Sometimes we see that clearly, and sometimes we don't. Sometimes in order to feel a little bit more safe, we point to a thing and say, oh, that is my thing. That is what makes sense. That's going to hold me safe. But perhaps Moshe's model of seeing clearly and it not being an identifiable thing is a way of saying, well, I see clearly. And even when I can't see the thing to hold on to, my seeing is holding me. My seeing is the way that I connect with God. My seeing is how I know how important I am even when I'm not in the middle, when I'm not in the center. So the beauty of seeing that each of us has a pivotal role and we take turns fulfilling them, that's something for us to think about today. So let's sing our way into the day, everybody. I'm looking forward to tomorrow with you. Have a beautiful day. Hope you manage to get out into the sunshine. Have a good day, everybody. See you tomorrow at 9 o'clock.